Here's the thing. U.S. Government has supported Mubarak all along. I mean, $1.5 billion support every year. The second largest recipient of foreign aid from the U.S., second to Israel. So Mubarak was America's dictator. And how Mubarak stayed in power was that he had to make the Muslim Brotherhood look like the extreme monster of Islamist fanatics, that if we are not in power, these crazy Islamists will be in power. And this is why we haven't had democracy in the past 30 years. Their interests economically largely align with the Mubarak regime. They are a complete co-opted group where the regime uses the carrot and stick with them to prove legitimacy when they want, or to be the opposition when they need an opposition to them. I talked to so many people in the Muslim Brotherhood that have gone into it believing it's the opposition and it's something great and so on, and they would leave it knowing, figuring out, coming to the conclusion that they are just as bad as the NDP party. They're the same. The Muslim Brotherhood is as much part of the Mubarak regime as the NDP. They are another face of the same coin. You look at the parliamentary election in the 2005 where they got 88 seats. That's 20% of parliament. That's the highest opposition anybody got in parliament next to the NDP. And they did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And that was their opportunity. I mean, that was their opportunity to prove that they are the opposition. This is what they're going to do if they come to power. And they did absolutely nothing. And it just shows that they are the exact same thing. They're playing the games. They're playing the game with the regime. So now it's going to be interesting because for the first time they will come into the political sphere without this alliance or this marriage, this illegal marriage between the NDP and the Muslim Brotherhood. And the consensus in the whole revolution is that we want a civil secular state where complete separation of religion and politics. And a lot of people look at Turkey as a great example that Egypt could be like, minus the military control part, because you look at Turkey and it's a largely Islamic Muslim population, but the government is completely secular, and there's no problem with that. They're somewhat democratic, and I think this was a main sense in the revolution. That and another thing, that the Muslim Brotherhood never took part actually officially when the revolution first started. They released this official statement saying that they wouldn't be taking part in the revolution because they would never, this is before even the January 25th, they would never be involved in a protest that would say down with Mubarak. This is a fact. They release people going to protest in numbers. They're like, so do you want like 500 protesters, 6? I mean, this is how disciplined they are, and they plan so everything that they have to be politically correct all the time. Does that sound like an opposition to you? No. I mean, they just know how to mobilize people. That's what they're good at. So I'm not concerned about their Islamist fanatic, like the idea and the perception that American people have of them, because this is what the Mubarak people painted them as. So I'm more concerned about them being the same as the NDP, that the NDP would come back in this form of the Muslim Brotherhood, of this conservative, elitist, capitalist, whatever party that would do the same actions that the NDP and the Mubarak regime did. That's my concern about the Muslim Brotherhood. Not that they're Islamist and not that they're fanatic, because they're not at all. They just use religion to mobilize people. The US government is just like an overbearing father to a teenager. Let them live. You don't have to be involved in every single country's government or politics unless they invite you to. I mean, if people are welcoming, Americans by open arms and hey, come help us, I'm sure America would love to help them. But let the people build their own country, Let the people take charge of building their own democracy, their own institutions, their own political life for the first time. For the first time in the Arab world, democracy is coming from within. You know, back in the 20s, these countries were cookie cutter, borders by people in Britain and in all these like imperialist, colonialist countries. And you look at Iraq, and it's like we're liberating Iraq, and the country went down the drain. And it's like you don't have to be involved in every freaking country. Just nobody's coming here and telling you what to do. Do you have to go to other countries and tell them what to do? You know how many NGOs we have, human rights NGOs? I mean, I know on the top of my head at least 10 that do the same work, that are more capable, that have the knowledge, that know the language, that know the culture, that live there, that are Egyptian themselves. They know it better than anybody. Why would America have to come to take care of human rights? America has never intervened officially in a country that was truly genuine. Come on, let's not kid ourselves. How much are they it cost them to be in Libya, to spend so much money bombing other countries, intervening in other countries' politics, when they can't even educate their own? That just, I see there's just no sense in that. And the American people, it's your tax money, it's your responsibility to say, hey, we don't want to be involved in other countries. Let's make our education better. Let's make our healthcare better, instead of going to other countries to better people's lives, when these people can better their life on their own very well. And the Arab world proved that they did. They did it without any foreign intervention, especially American. Actually, it fueled them. The only good thing America was good for is that they angered the people more by supporting dictators like Mubarak. People all around the world can learn so much from what's happening in the Middle East, not just Egypt, which is believing in yourself, believing that you have the power to call on your governments to be the change you want to see, and to own your voice and your rights. These are things that they don't grant you. No, they work for you, And when they stop working for you and start working for themselves, that's when you have every single right to uprise and to say, you know what? We don't want you anymore. We want justice. We want healthcare. We want education. We want a decent life. We want more jobs. And you have the power to do that. And many people forget that, what am I going to do? Not one person going to change the world. Yes, of course, it's not going to take one person. It's going to take all these individuals making all these individual choices to be a collective and be a force reckoned with. Nobody can wreck with that human force. Yeah. Well, I want to definitely continue my education. I just graduated in political science, and I want to get my master's and PhD. But I see myself definitely continuing what I'm doing in Egypt, which is being part of the revolution, continuing to defend the revolution, fight for the revolution and what it stood for, and maybe be part of the political party that my group is starting, which is the Labour Democratic Party. I would love to be involved in that. But as of now, I'm just going to work in journalism to continue to do what I do. And who knows, Palestine will be next for me, hopefully. But definitely Egypt first, and then all the road to Jerusalem passes through Cairo, and we're halfway there.